Bafana coach Gordon Igesund's job is safe for now. Igesund has received the backing of his football bosses, despite his failure to fulfill a mandate to qualify for the semi-finals of the Africa Cup of Nations. He joins us now to discuss Saturday's game further. Good evening. Thanks for coming in. I was watching that game with friends of mine around the world, and after the game it felt like you needed a release. What did you do to blow off steam? It was an intense game.
Yeah, I know it was, and obviously we were all very disappointed. The guys, for me, played one of the best games ever. They really played very well, and we played a team that's ranked number 3 in Africa and number 20 in the world, and we dominated the game for long periods of the game, so it was very unfortunate to go out the way we did.
What was the first thing you did, leaving the Moses Mabhida Stadium?
Well, it was, it's a lot of interviews, of course, and just trying to just think about the whole situation again, and where we could have been, I suppose, if we had have maybe scored the second goal in the first half when we had the opportunities, and just trying to reflect on the whole thing, but it was very emotional for everybody because it was a tough ask, but I think the guys did very well.
I mean, you talk about the context, this really tough ask, a lot of expectations which grew with Bafana's performance. Everyone was really excited. What guided your coaching style with regard to all the pessimism as well that was surrounding the team?
No, I think it was important from the beginning to get us to select a team that I knew could play the type of football that I wanted to play, and that's to keep the ball, make it difficult for the opposition, play a passing game, play exciting football, get behind defenders, score goals, and I think we did that. It was difficult because of the time factor. We've only had the players for maybe 30 days in the last 6 months, and it's a completely new team, a new style of football. So it was really a good congratulations to the players. They really performed.
This is your team or Safa's team? Was this your pick or their pick?
No, it can only be my pick. I mean, they don't coach the team, I coach the team, and I select the players.
All right, so now I know how we felt watching the team score that first goal. I mean, there was, everything was alive. All the social networks were buzzing. Did you think when they scored that first goal so early on that victory was indeed in our sights?
We always think that, we always like to go out with a positive frame of mind and know that we can beat anybody, really, and playing Mali, I knew that there were going to be certain stages in the game where we weren't going to dominate, as if we did dominate most of the game, but there were going to be periods because of the fact that they are a very good team. They've got some excellent players, a lot of experience, and I just was hoping that we could defend the way we can, and not concede a goal, but with the pressure they put on us in a period of 10 minutes or so, they scored the equalising goal, and then of course it went to penalties,
Which we'll talk about those horrid penalties in just a second, but they seemed so well matched. I mean, they were pace for pace in the first, in the opening minutes of that game and in the first half, and then it began to unravel. I watched you on the sidelines giving all of the, kind of putting your sign, giving them your sign language. Did they stick to your game plan, Gordon?
Yeah, 100%. They were brilliant. They, I mean, you could see. I mean, you don't dominate a team like Mali if you don't stick to the game plan. The guys closed them down very quickly. We played at a very high tempo, which we had to do to match them. And I think towards the end, later stages of the game, that game plan wasn't quite the way it should have been because the levels of fitness at that time were drained, their tempo was so high for 60 minutes, and of course there was a time as well when Mali threw everything into attack, but they had nothing to lose now, 20 minutes to go or 30 minutes to go, they're out of the competition, they needed to get a goal, so of course they throw caution to the wind and they start trying to put you on your back foot, and with the experienced players they had, they did that for periods of the game.
So did we suffer from lack of experience?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all.
I mean, you didn't have your, your Klaassen, your Pienaar, your Gold on the field. I think you would have liked all of these people there. Matzo, did it affect the outcome?
No, not at all. I think I had a fantastic squad of players there that really were committed, played with passion, and I think we lost with a lot of dignity, and that's important. Sometimes, it's a game of football. You can't win all the time. You've got to have sometimes lose games. We were unbeaten in the tournament, in actual fact. We only lost on penalties. So it wasn't because anybody wasn't there. It was because at the end of the day, they scored the penalties and we missed them.
And why did we miss those penalties? Why is it hard for us to score the penalties? Did we not practice enough? Did the boys not practice
Well, on
enough?
any given day, you would score those penalties. It's unfortunate that we didn't. I mean, the best players in the world have missed penalties in situations. The goalkeeper made the right decision. He dived the right way. We practice penalties every day for long periods of our training session, and those same players who missed were the best penalty takers in the training field. It happens like that. I mean, Platini missed one in the World Cup. So it happens in football.
All right. So you heard the announcement by Safa today. It says it stands by you. We have heard that you've been offered a contract until 2018. Is that true or not?
Well, the president has gone on record to say they'd like to keep me until 2018, and obviously that's very exciting because I see a big light at the end of the tunnel for us. You know, we're getting better and better, and we need continuity. So that's very exciting, and I spoke with the president today, and I'll be meeting him early next week.
Have you got it in writing?
I'll be meeting the president early next week.
Are you going to stay on?
Well, I'd love to stay on. I think, you know, we've started something now, and everything looks very encouraging, and the platform's been laid, and there's some exciting plays that we found, like, for example, Dean Furman and May Mashlangu and others, you know, that makes it all very exciting. So we can only go forward from here.
Let's talk about World Cup qualifiers. What changes are you going to make to your coaching staff and your team?
But why do you always think I have to make changes and we have to do this?
I'm just asking.
No, not at all. There's not necessary to make any changes.
Why You're happy as you are.
My technical team were outstanding. Sarami's excellent. Alex Heredia has been there for 132 games with the national team. He's a great goalkeeper coach. You can see the way the goalkeepers are performing. There's unity in the squad. So there's no reason to make many changes. Obviously, sometimes in the playing staff you need to make changes because it's horses for courses. And as you mentioned earlier, there were a couple of very, very good players who were unable to make this particular squad because of the fact that they were injured and had injury problems. Like you mentioned, you know, there's David Sommer overseas. There's Dylan Klaassen. There's Morgan Gill coming back. There's other players who are putting their hand up and saying, I want to be involved in the national team. So I think this is very good.
Would you have changed anything in your strategy? Hindsight is 20/20 vision. What would you have done differently? Could you go back?
No, I wouldn't have done anything differently. You know, time was against us, obviously. As I said, I've been in charge for 6 months, but in those 6 months, I didn't have the players. I only had the players for a total of 32 days. You know, 3 days before Brazil, 2 days before this game, 3 days before that game. So I think the team has come on a lot. I mean, it's a completely new team. We played a completely new style of football, and the players adapted, and they need to be applauded for that. You know, in such a short state of time to try and get an understanding. I could see in certain games, understanding between certain players wasn't quite right in defence. You know, but that's how it was, and we only had that bit of time. But given that and going forward now, I think, as I said earlier on, there's a big light, big bright light at the end of the tunnel.
Are we going to qualify for the World Cup?
Well, I certainly hope so. You know, we haven't started off well. We've dropped 4 points. We dropped 2 points against Ethiopia. We dropped 2 points against Botswana. We've got to play Central Africa Republic twice, home and away. And then we've got a game against Ethiopia, one more against Botswana. So the points are there to be had. So it's not like it's an impossible task. The points are there to be had, and we need to get them.
You're a proud man?
I'm very proud of the team, yes.
Okay, Gordon, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate that. Bafana national coach, Gordon Igesund.